What if I told you that some of the happiest retirees don't necessarily have the biggest retirement accounts? That might sound strange. After all, we're constantly told that retirement is all about the number. $1 million, $2 million. The bigger the nest egg, the happier the retirement, right? Well, not always. Think about two retirees. One has plenty of money but spends every day feeling bored, isolated, and worried about running out of it. The other has less money but wakes up every morning with purpose, enjoys meaningful friendships, stays active, and goes to bed grateful for another good day. Which one feels richer? Notice I didn't ask who is richer. I asked who feels richer, because retirement isn't only measured by your bank account, it's measured by how you spend your time. For decades, your calendar was built around work, alarm clocks, meetings, deadlines. Weekends became something you looked forward to because they were limited. Then retirement arrives, and suddenly every day feels like Saturday. At first, that sounds wonderful. But after a few months, many retirees discover something surprising. Too much free time can become just as uncomfortable as not having enough. That's why the happiest retirees often build small daily habits that give structure, purpose, and joy to their lives. Let's look at the first habit, and it's probably much simpler than you think. Habit 1. Wake up with a reason. One of the biggest adjustments in retirement isn't financial, it's psychological. For 40 years, you woke up because someone expected you to, your boss, your customers, your coworkers. There was always somewhere to be. Then, one morning, there isn't. For the first few weeks, sleeping in feels amazing. Maybe even the first few months. But eventually, many retirees begin asking themselves a question they never expected. What am I doing today? Without an answer, the days can start blending together. Monday feels like Thursday, and Thursday feels like Sunday. Before you know it, another month has quietly passed. That's why having a reason to get out of bed each morning can completely change how retirement feels. Notice, I didn't say it has to be a big reason. You don't need to climb Mount Everest. Maybe it's walking around your neighborhood before breakfast, LR volunteering twice a week. Maybe it's reading one chapter of a book every morning while enjoying your coffee, or it's tending a vegetable garden that's become your pride and joy. Purpose doesn't have to be impressive, it just has to matter to you. And retirement isn't about escaping routines, it's about creating better ones. Habit number 2. Move your body every day. Have you ever noticed how children can't seem to sit still? They're always running, climbing, jumping, exploring. Then, somewhere along the way, adulthood convinces us that sitting is normal. Desk jobs, long commutes, television. Before we know it, we've become experts at staying still. Retirement gives you something many people wish they had: time. The question is, what will you do with it? You don't need to train for a marathon. You don't need to spend 2 hours in the gym. Sometimes a simple morning walk is enough. A bike ride around the neighborhood. Light stretching, swimming, dancing in the living room while your favorite song is playing. The goal isn't becoming the fittest retiree in America. It's keeping your body strong enough to enjoy the retirement you've worked so hard to reach. After all, travel is more enjoyable when walking through the airport doesn't leave you exhausted. Playing with grandchildren is easier when getting up from the floor doesn't feel like solving a puzzle. Movement isn't just about adding years to your life. It's about adding life to your years. Habit number 3. Spend time with people who make you laugh. Money can buy many things. It can buy a beautiful home, a comfortable car, a dream vacation, but it can't buy genuine friendship. One of the biggest changes retirement brings is that your social circle often changes too. You no longer see coworkers every day. The casual conversations by the coffee machine disappear. The lunch breaks, the birthday celebrations. Without realizing it, many retirees become more isolated. And loneliness can quietly sneak into retirement without making much noise. That's why making time for other people isn't just something nice to do. It's one of the healthiest habits you can develop. Meet a friend for breakfast, join a local walking group, volunteer, or take a class. Call someone you've been meaning to catch up with. Better yet, be the person who makes the first phone call. Sometimes everyone is waiting for someone else to reach out. And here's something wonderful about laughter. It doesn't care how much money you have. Some of the richest moments in retirement cost almost nothing. A long conversation over coffee, a card game with neighbors, a family barbecue, watching your grandchildren tell stories that barely make sense but somehow leave everyone laughing anyway. Those moments don't show up on investment statements. but they're often the ones you remember most. Habit number 4, keep learning something new. There's an old saying that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Thankfully, that saying isn't true for people. Retirement doesn't mean your curiosity has to retire too. In fact, this may finally be the season of life where you have time to learn simply because you're interested. Maybe you've always wanted to learn photography, play the piano, speak Spanish, bake sourdough bread, understand how investing really works, or finally figure out why your grandchildren keep talking about artificial intelligence. Learning keeps life interesting. It gives your brain new challenges. It gives you stories to tell. And perhaps most importantly, it reminds you that retirement isn't the end of growth. It's simply the beginning of learning things you never had time to learn before. Habit number 5, practice gratitude before you start chasing more. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to focus on what's missing? Maybe you wish your retirement account were a little bigger. Maybe you wish you had retired 5 years earlier. Maybe your knees don't let you travel the way they used to. Or maybe you find yourself comparing your retirement to someone else's. Your neighbor just bought a new RV. Your old coworker is posting pictures from an Alaskan cruise. Another friend seems to be on vacation every other month. Before long, you start thinking, maybe I'm not doing retirement right. The funny thing is, there's always going to be someone with a bigger house, a nicer car, or a larger investment portfolio. If that's how we measure success, the finish line keeps moving. Instead, try asking yourself a different question. What went well today? Maybe you shared breakfast with your spouse. Maybe you took a walk on a beautiful morning. Maybe your granddaughter called just to say hello. Maybe you sat on your porch with a cup of coffee and watched the sunrise. Those moments don't cost much, but they can completely change how your day feels. Gratitude has a way of shifting your attention from what you don't have to what you already do. And that's a powerful habit, because retirement isn't about having everything. It's about appreciating the things that matter most. Habit number 6, spend money on experiences, not just things. Let's play a little game. Think back 10 years. Can you remember every gadget you bought? Probably not. Now think about your favorite family vacation. The road trip where everyone sang the wrong words to every song. The beach where your grandkids built a crooked sandcastle. The anniversary dinner where you laughed until your stomach hurt. Those memories tend to stay with us much longer than the excitement of buying something new. That's why many happy retirees become intentional about where their money goes. Instead of asking, "What can I buy?" they ask, "What can we experience?" Sometimes that experience is a weekend getaway. Sometimes it's taking your grandchildren to the zoo. And sometimes it's inviting old friends over for dinner instead of eating out. And sometimes it's as simple as packing a picnic and driving to a nearby state park. The price isn't what makes an experience valuable. It's the people you're sharing it with. Now, that doesn't mean you should never buy nice things. There's nothing wrong with enjoying the fruits of your hard work. But if you have to choose between another item collecting dust in the garage and a memory you'll still be talking about 10 years from now, many retirees discover the memory is the better investment. Habit number 7, end every day looking forward to tomorrow. This may sound like an unusual habit, but it might be the most important one of all. Think back to your working years. Even on difficult days, there was usually something on tomorrow's calendar. A meeting, a project, a lunch with coworkers, a deadline. Retirement removes that built-in structure. If you're not careful, days can begin to drift by without much direction. That's why many retirees create something small to anticipate every single day. Maybe tomorrow morning you're meeting a friend for coffee. Maybe you're taking the dog to a new park. Maybe it's your weekly pickleball game. Maybe you're planning to work in the garden for an hour. Or maybe tomorrow is the day you're finally going to start that book you've been saying you'll read for months. Having something to look forward to gives each day a sense of purpose. It reminds you that life is still moving forward. Retirement isn't about waiting. It isn't about counting the years. It's about continuing to create moments worth looking forward to. Sometimes those moments are big. A family reunion, a cruise, a wedding. Other times they're wonderfully ordinary. Fresh pancakes on a Sunday morning, an evening walk with your spouse, watching the birds visit your backyard. Life isn't made meaningful by a handful of extraordinary days. It's made meaningful by hundreds of ordinary ones. If you've noticed something about these 7 habits, it's this. None of them require you to be a millionaire. None of them depend on the stock market reaching a new high. None of them require a luxury home or a passport full of stamps. That's because feeling rich and being wealthy aren't always the same thing. Of course, money matters. Having enough to pay your bills, enjoy your hobbies, and feel financially secure is incredibly important. But once your basic needs are met, the quality of your retirement often depends less on your bank balance and more on your daily choices, how you spend your mornings, who you spend your time with, how often you laugh, whether you're taking care of your health, whether you're still curious about the world, whether you're creating memories instead of simply collecting possessions. Those little choices don't seem very important on any single day, but over weeks, months, and years, they shape the retirement you experience. One day you'll look back and realize it wasn't one grand event that made retirement fulfilling. It was thousands of small moments stitched together. A conversation over coffee, a walk around the neighborhood, a phone call from an old friend, a sunset shared with someone you love. Those are the things that make retirement feel rich. So don't spend all your energy chasing a perfect retirement. Spend it building a meaningful one. Because in the end, the richest retirees aren't always the ones with the biggest portfolios. They're often the ones who learn to find extraordinary joy in ordinary days. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe for more practical retirement tips, financial insights, and simple strategies to help you make the most of the years you've worked so hard to reach. Because retirement isn't just about living longer, it's about living better.